Alrighty, so I'm only making this video because I struggled a lot with the Chinese diesel heater installation. I really wasn't sure where to put it, where it was going to go, where it made sense. I was thinking about putting it under the seat, where I ended up putting it. I was considering the cabinet over here, kind of underneath where the spare tire, the collapsible spare, would go. Ultimately, I just didn't find a spot where I felt like I had enough clearance to really install it, so I ended up going with this. This hole here is the original tube that would have fed from the air-cooled heater. I did it for a couple reasons. First, this thing doesn't need a ton of clearance, but clearance is better. And I wanted to make sure I could put some room around it. And this is only partially installed. Let me preface this whole video by saying this isn't done yet, as you can tell by the wiring mess that I have. But I wanted to get it in and test it and make sure that it did the things that I wanted them to do. So in here, I have some of the complications where I have a pretty thick piece of wood for the flooring. And then you've got the original floor of the Z-bed. So it's a pretty long road to get down to the metal. Other consideration for this for me was not putting a million holes in this bus. It's pretty original. I haven't had to do a lot. Like I refinished a lot of that cabinet, but this one here with the fridge and stuff is all original. Actually, you can't really see it, but the covering on the seats and the bed up there are original. So I didn't want to put a whole lot of holes in this for, you have to have a hole for the intake, you have to have a hole for the exhaust, you have to have a hole for the fuel line. So what I did is I made one larger hole underneath here. I made probably about a 3.5 inch round hole through the wood. And then I filled it with fire block caulk around the edges to seal it. And then I ran the pipes through. The pipes currently, show everybody, up under here, you can sort of see it. The one that's got the insulation on it is obviously the exhaust line. The intake line is actually way up there. That just has a little filter on it. And the clear line is the filter. And you can see there's a little piece of wire loom that I use to feed that through. Something else you might notice, and while I'm down here, the fuel pump is there. Something else you may notice is I did not use the plastic tubing that comes with the kit. This stuff is, for a lot of reasons, this green stuff is the wrong stuff. The diesel heater works with a pump, and it's a pulse pump. So every pulse sends fuel into the combustion chamber where it burns. The more pulses, the hotter it burns. The less pulses, the slower it burns. But this is really squishy stuff. I don't know if you can see, but I'm squishing this. That means that some of the pulse pressure is actually taken to expand this tubing, which means less pressure at the pump. The Chinese diesel heater is just an expired copycat of the Eberspacher's and the Webasto's, the other ones that are out there. They all use this plastic line. This is harder plastic line. You can get this kit on Amazon that comes with this plastic line, as well as a whole bunch of clamps and things. Highly recommend it. You want to make sure that the fuel pump itself is within, I think they said 1 to 3 feet in the instructions on the Webasto site, of the actual burner itself. And then I just used the plastic line and total seal clamps all the way around to the fuel tank. The fuel tank was the other thing that I had a lot of struggling with to figure out where I wanted to put it. Essentially, a lot of folks I see, they put it inside here somewhere. Usually, right up here. I've seen a lot of people put the flat tank that comes with it right here. I could have done that. I almost did that. A couple things stopped me. First, I didn't want to cut holes. Directly below here is the wheel well. I didn't want a fuel line in the wheel well. Anything further inboard, I'm going through multiple layers to try to get down. Then I was going to get a stainless steel tank, and I found one on clearance on Amazon, which would have sat here, had a little plastic line for sight glass, which I didn't love. But then, if you've ever worked with diesel, you know it stinks. A little bit. You spill a drop, and the whole inside of where you're going to be sleeping is going to stink for the remainder of the trip. So I really wanted to find a place to put it outside. I know the spot that I put it's not going to work for everybody because a lot of folks will have batteries back here, but I landed on this for the fuel tank. That's just a regular Amazon battery tray. I don't love the hold down. It kind of crushes the tank a little bit. I got to do something better for that. but I wanted to get it in and test it and working. And I figure back here, that's the spot that they put the gasoline-fired heaters, which I have one of. But I didn't really want to cut the giant hole for the gasoline heater right through here, which goes right next to the gas tank and then in under the seat. So I'm like, if they can put a gas heater back here with a gasoline in it, I should be able to put a tank of barely flammable oil and not worry too much. I figure if the engine's hot enough to melt that tank, then there's probably a fire under here already. And fuel injection and everything being what it is, this is probably already having bigger issues than the oil tank. Underneath it, pretty simple. Just use the filter that came with the heater. It's actually a pretty fine mesh. It's not that bad. And that's a factory hole in the frame there that I ran it through, and that's a factory hole in the body that I ran it through. So I didn't have to put any major holes in the bus for it. So far, seems to run good. I'll fire it up. We'll see if it does the thing with this battery. It's kind of cool. It comes with a remote. I don't know if this little battery is going to have enough voltage to do it, but we'll see. While it does that, while it thinks about it, the exhaust was the other thing that I had to figure out. And what I landed on was this. So there's the muffler. Again, there's a little hole in the muffler. Make sure it's pointed down, otherwise you won't evacuate water that condenses. And then I got an extension tube, and I ran it there, and then underneath the hot part of that tube. I kind of wanted to keep it from getting too close to anything that was flammable. Excuse the paint job on this bus. I had to replace the entire lower 6 inches all the way around. And it's not done yet. And then I came across the frame there. This is the drain for the sink. And then I just tucked it out here, painted the end black. I don't know what I'm going to do with this yet. Considering moving it back under and then just getting another slip coupler for when I'm camping that I could hook on and have it be further away. Probably I'll just leave it like this. I don't think it's going to hurt it. I ran it before and it hasn't blown soot up the bus. I think it's going to be fine, but we'll see. Remains to be seen. I didn't want to run it out here because this is a vent for the stove or the sink, and that goes right inside. Didn't seem like a good idea. So I essentially have it set up where if I'm sleeping in here, the plan will be I'm going to put the hole about here for this tube and that fitting. So that way the heat will come out here. Tried to figure out a way to use the factory hole. I didn't have one. I couldn't find anything that would work, that would be able to orient this where the tubes are coming out the bottom away from important stuff, because this same spot on that side is directly over the electric fuel pump for the fuel injection. Didn't seem like the right place for an exhaust pipe. Okay, you can actually hear it now. I don't know if you can hear it. It's on, so you can hear the fuel pump ticking maybe, and just a little bit of the grumble perhaps of the heater. But yeah, I'm getting hot air now. So it works pretty good. We'll see. I gotta finish the wiring, and I gotta put a house battery in. I don't want to run it off the battery for the bus, because if it runs down, if there's a problem, whatever, I don't want to not start the next morning. So I'll put a house battery in. You can use that for some of the other electrics and stuff in here. And I'll probably take another video when I figure out what that's going to look like and how it's going to work. But yeah, so that's it for now.